Well, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to start on way overdue project with the old Ford. Finally got all the parts gathered up and it is time to go ahead and start on this project. So here's a look at everything that I've got. So first off, got the two leaf springs. Okay, so I got the two rear hangers. And reason being because right there on the bottom of the hangers that's on the truck are rusted out. There's a couple of holes in them pretty good. I got these spring seats, and as you can see, original Ford equipment. Got the rear shackles for the rear of the springs. I got brand new U-bolts made. I do have a lot of hardware in here. This is all like nuts and bolts and washers, and this is pretty much new nuts, bolts, washers for the front sway bar links, which is, I do have those, and the bolts for the shackles and the front of the leaf spring. So I do have all of those new. Well, this is a sway bar link bushing kit, which I do not like the material. The bushings literally feel like plastic, so I don't like those. That's going to be for the top here, and it also comes with the bushings for the bottom here, but of course it already has that in there, so I don't need those. But what I'm going to try to do is I have one set of energy suspension bushings left over from when I bought this kit to put on the old Dodge. So I'm going to see if I can't get those to go on here, and we'll use those instead, and then, you know, I can just send that back. Had the sway bar bushings, and I've got all four shocks. I went with the KOIBs. There was a pretty decent deal on those, and it seems like a lot of people actually run those on there on the truck, so I'm going to put those on there. And I also found on Amazon, actually, Peak makes these nice LED headlights, and they are a split LED headlight. I'm gonna assume the top is high beam, bottom's low beam. I don't really know. It's one of the two. I think only half of it lights up for low beam or something like that, but not too sure. But that's going to be a whole lot better than the stock, like factory, what's on there now. So as far as the front hangers, that one there has a lot of pretty decent rust on it. As you can see, this one is bolted on, so this one has actually been replaced before. There's a lot of mud caked on there. I got to get it all off there to see the exact condition of it, but I tried to find these hangers and they just are not available nowhere unless I buy one that's in the exact same condition off of a used truck. Why would I do that when I'm replacing everything else new? So that makes no sense. I might as well keep what I have. So that side, you know, it has decent rust on it, but it doesn't have any rust holes, and it looks like it's still pretty stout. The other side is actually still the factory hanger, and you can see it is actually still riveted onto the frame, so it's in pretty decent shape. But the back two hangers are still riveted to the frame, which I will have to be cutting those off, and I do have to still go and find some bolts for these, which is no problem. Alright, once you get the rear end of this thing all jacked up, as you can see, let me scoot back a little bit. I got it up there pretty good. That's far enough. I don't want to really go too high with it, because then I'm really kind of trying to stretch to lift everything. So just simply put the jack stands, you know, on the frame in front of the hangers there. So first things first, I want to pull the old shocks off. Nothing real special to even show you. It's simply 3/4 inch bolt down at the bottom, and it had 9/16 on the top. Nothing real hard to do. Throw your Ugga Dugga device on the 3/4, and you know, and you can simply reach up in there and get the 9/16 bolt from the top out, and nothing real special to show you. So That's the first thing you want to do, because the second thing is I am going to go ahead and take the U-bolts off and drop the rear end off of the leaf springs. And simply because the reason why you want to take those off first, because once I do that, then you don't want them old shocks trying to hold the entire rear end. The rear end is just simply going to drop straight down. Take everything off, put all the new stuff on, jack the rear end straight back up, and it'll be right in place where it needs to be. So shouldn't be any headache. But I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. Which this front one here is going to be pretty easy, because I already had that one off because to get the new ones made. But the rest of it ought to come off pretty good. I may have to throw a little bit of heat to it, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's penetrating a little burning, so you see it burning? Yeah, you can. Ain't no big deal. Yeah, the gas tank's right there. It'll be fine. It'll buff out eventually. Okay. You are going to get the... And yes, I'm sure someone watching this is probably like, well, you know, it'd be a lot easier if you put the rear end down on the jack stand. Well, it is. It's sitting on the jack stand. I'm not that stupid. Yeah, there's one. Yeah, really, they're not in that bad a shape. I mean, they're rusted up pretty good, but you know, when you're putting everything new on there, you don't want old crap left. All right. Come off pretty easy. And plate. All right, well now. So that spring is probably not officially free from the rear end, simply because it's been on there for so long. But the other thing now is let's get up in here and see if we can't get these springs off. That's good. Knock some of that dirt off of there. Yes, indeed. Well, that's going to be the persuasion bar again. Okay. Well, that's no big deal. Oh, God. Okay. Well, we are going to throw some heat on that one, because that sucker is stuck after soaking and penetrating oil for a long time. A couple of weeks, actually. But we're going to cook that one off, too. And I may need a good bit for some of these bolts. Absolutely will. Really, if I just simply get my cutting wheel and cut this rear hanger completely off, you know, that could honestly do the job. But you know, that'd be the heck of a crash on the floor. Get a little bit of heat, and get a little bit of. Boy, that thing is tight. I would need some serious air power tools. God, to get that. Boy, that sucker is tight. Whew. So what's actually going on here is, oof, I'm not sure how much of that you can see. You can kind of see the end of the threads is kind of boogered up a little bit, but once it gets out here to the frame, oh, where are we at here? The back of the socket is hitting right against the frame and not allowing it to come out any further because the bolt itself is seized up in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run that nut out a little bit, and then I'm gonna try to beat that bolt out a little bit there, and then just simply hang on to this end of it and reef it the rest of the way off. Okay, so maybe throw your socket over there. Yeah, it's for good luck and stuff like that. Yeah, you just can't beat just a regular little wrench. This might burn some shit because of the bushing in there. It just simply needs cooked a little bit. That's all. That's all. It just simply needs cooked a little bit. Well, looky there. I finally got it out of there. What I ended up having to do is cut the head of the bolt off and then cut the hanger itself off. So I can just simply slide the whole thing out. And before anyone asks, I know someone's going to say, why didn't you take the top bolt out of the shackle there? Just take it off that way. Well, because this was up against the frame for some stupid reason, and somebody put this together before they hung it on there, and the bolt head was against the frame and the nut was on the outside, and there was no way to pull that bolt out of there. But as you can see, of course it would have came out perfectly fine, but there was no way to do it. So I simply had to cut it off. Look how twisted that thing is. Isn't that something? After all these years, that thing is definitely ready to be replaced. Of course, the grinding and the cutting is not done because I do have to cut that off, which shouldn't be too bad. It is simply riveted on there, and then I do have to go get bolts for that. Because several hours later, I finally, here, let me turn my light on here. Finally got that thing off of there. The rivets were a pain. I had to cut, of course, you know, cut the fronts of them off. And then once they would not punch out at all, so I had to literally cut them off flush with the frame. And they still wouldn't punch out. I managed to get this one out using a C-clamp. The same thing with the bottom. And then the top two, I ended up having to start drilling them. And then they just kind of popped out on me. Everything's apart on this side. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side apart. There's no sense in filming that. It's exactly the same, and probably several hours of getting the other hanger off, unfortunately. And then after that, just I'm going to do some cleaning of where the parts go and everything, and a little bit of cleaning on the side of the frame there and on top of the axle and all that, and where the shocks mount, and then I'll be ready to put stuff back together. Well, I got a little ahead of myself and went ahead and put the rear hanger on this side, which wasn't too bad. I mean, the top two bolts, especially the front top one, it's a little hard to get to from the back side, but they went in there okay and tightened up pretty good, and hopefully that's gonna be good enough for all that. Okay, what is the deal here? Okay, So for some reason I had this issue on the other side. It's where these two side holes don't perfectly line up. Which is an easy fix, but the holes do not line up 100% perfect. They're not too bad. I mean, it's just literally the bracket is towards the front, just a hair on both sides here, or both of them on this side. So it's not really a hard thing to fix. I mean, you just simply drill it out a little bit. There. I ain't gonna fight with getting the damn wrench out of there. Come on. Alright. Well, there you have it. Well, good morning to you. We are day 2, working on the truck. Had a brake job this morning on a customer's car. So I did that real quick, got that knocked out, got him down the road, and I went ahead and started on the truck before I started filming. Kind of got ahead of myself a little bit, but let me show you what I did. I went ahead and put the first leaf spring in. Now nothing's tightened up yet. The front bolt is not tight. I haven't even started on tightening the nut on the back side, and the same for both of these. I left those quite loose so I can make the adjustments needed once I get everything bolted together, get the rear end back on it and all that good stuff, and then I'll be ready to tighten everything down. But that's as far as I got so far. Just putting that on. I'm gonna go ahead and work on the other side. Get both the leaf springs on there first, and then I'll go ahead and attach the spring plates and the U-bolts and get everything attached to the rear end, and then I will start jacking it up to get it in the right position to tighten those down. I know this is not the greatest angle for the camera to be sitting at. You really don't have a very good view. I know that, but you know, like always, I'm here in the garage by myself. Can't really hold the camera and do the work. All I can do is pretty much just set the camera somewhere, and hopefully we get a good view of what I'm doing. Since I didn't record the other side, we'll go ahead and record doing this side. And basically, the way, like I did the other side, I'm going to put the rear end in first. That way the whole assembly can swivel, you know, can move back and forth, up and down, whatever. It can move whichever way I need it to move to get it in to the front bracket. And what I will do is, once I get it up there, you know, I'm actually going to use the rear end to kind of hold it for a little bit, and then I will jack the rear end up a little bit, move the jack stand out so I can drop the rear end down so I can move it forward enough to get it into the forward hanger. Just a little bit. Right. Okay. Oop. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Now just simply, you know, that would be something later on down the road in the future. I think that would be a benefit to my channel if I had a camera person. Oh, you know what I need? I need my hammer. Oh. Dirt in my mouth. My light's gonna go wonky on me. Pick it up just a little bit here. I'm literally pushing my knee up underneath of it there to get it to move, which is a big deal on me. Oh, there it goes. Ooh. There we go. And it's in. I'm going to tighten them down, but I'm not going to do that until after I strap them to the rear end. And then jack it up a little bit, put them where they need to be. It should be golden. Oh, goodness. Ah. So I want to point something out here. So this rear end, of course, you know, with the old springs being bent and twisted the way they were, the rear end was exactly a 1/2 inch towards the driver's side. And I have simply just went straight up, straight down, you know, a couple times with this rear end. Now, I don't know if it's shifted any by doing that. It shouldn't have. And by looking at the drive shaft, it doesn't look like it has, but look at that. So I'm kind of wondering, like, really, was it off that far? I mean, that's probably a good 1/2 inch. So, and that's not even with the leaf springs tightened up. So that is pretty crazy. I mean, it's going to be a significant difference having the rear end, having everything straight back here. It's going to be a whole lot better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get underneath the pumpkin there, jack it up a little bit and shift it over and start putting the U-bolts and the plates in and get that all strapped together, and then I should be golden. Oh, and it's got to go forward too. Let's see here. Actually got to go forward just a little bit. Almost. There it is. All right. Okay. They did provide the nuts and the washers to go with them, which is great. So there we have it. U-bolts and spring plates are in. Now, really the only thing left to do now is I need to jack it up a little bit. I'll jack it up from the pumpkin there and start tightening all 6 of these bolts. Alright, so after getting everything tightened up, get everything nice and tight, everything's good to roll. Next thing is let's throw the shocks on. I went with these KYB shocks. Seems like a lot of people run these on these old trucks. So I feel like these were better than the store, like the house brand ones. Shaft, maybe, we'll see. And it also comes with another little nut, basically to act as a lock nut to put on top of it. So instead of them actually sending you a lock nut, they just send another nut. Not sure why. Can't just go with a lock nut, I don't know, but the old ones were not on there like that, but they just had one nut and that was it, and it wasn't a lock nut or anything, which, you know, I'm sure it'll be fine either way, but everything done. Wheels back on it, back down on the ground. Everything is sitting pretty good. And you can't really hardly see under here, but everything's buttoned up, everything's nice and tight. Pretty good. Drive shaft looks dead center. That's pretty much going to wrap up this video. Hope this video was sort-of informal and maybe helped some other people down the road that's going to be doing this same project. As you can see, it's really not that difficult. You know, really the hardest part is, you know, cutting the rivets out of the old hangers and then getting the rest of the rivet out of the frame. You know, really that's probably about the hardest part of it. So hopefully this video helped somebody out somewhere down the road. Stay tuned to the channel for my next video. I do have a matching pair of shocks for the front. I have new sway bar links and sway bar bushings, and we're going to be putting those LED headlights in the truck. So stay tuned to the channel, and we'll see you in that video.